Hey, so for this section, what we want to talk about is alignment, aligning your team so they can perform at the highest level. And what that high performance alignment really comes down to is three key categories: purpose, vision, and mission. And then for each of those categories, those are going to correlate with you as the leader, the leader of the organization itself, the organization's vision, the organization's purpose, and then each individual team member. What happens is if you understand your purpose, if you understand your vision, if you understand your mission, you can align your mission to the vision, to the purpose, then you can really tap into what I like to call that unlimited potential of your purpose, that fire that keeps you going, the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. When you tie your purpose to your mission, then you have that extra energy to fulfill each one of those missions, as each one of those missions helps you to fulfill your vision, which will in turn help you to fulfill your purpose more and more and more. And so it really comes down to aligning all three of those different areas. So I want to start off just from the leader perspective, talk about it in a singular, and then we're going to get into what I like to call like a high performance alignment matrix that we'll talk about here in just a second. But basically, you have to understand your purpose, what it is that you want to do, how you want to be remembered in the world, the impact that you want to have on those around you, understanding your purpose. And then from there, what is the vision for yourself to help to make that purpose a reality? My purpose is to help people. My vision of how I want to help those people is by helping to create better leaders, because better leaders create better organizations create a better world, right? That's the vision for how I'm going to fulfill my purpose there. Then my mission underneath of that vision is going to be much more specific, much smaller, much more short term. I'm going to record a video like this for GBLP in order to help to teach people taking GBLP to be better leaders, because that aligns with my vision, right? So the mission of recording this video aligns with the vision of helping to build better leaders, which aligns with my purpose, which is just to help people and help to make the world a better place. So that's how you can see how those alignments go. And then going back to the beginning, the motivation aspect, when you have that alignment, you are tying the most exciting thing possible, which is that big picture purpose, and you're tying it into usually the most boring thing possible, which is that really, really small, tedious task that you have to complete to reach that purpose. When people go through exercises, I've done this with a handful of clients, they go through the exercise of writing out their purpose statement, understanding what their purpose is, and they get really freaking excited about their purpose and they want to go fulfill their purpose. But the gap that usually happens is between the purpose and their vision, or their purpose and their mission. And the reason that that happens is because the purpose is this really big, really beautiful, really exciting thing. And it's also usually pretty abstract. Like I said, my purpose is to help people. So that can mean quite literally almost anything, depending on how I want to define those terms. And so then the work comes from aligning that purpose back to the vision, back to the mission. When you're able to do that successfully and you have your purpose aligned with your vision, then you know that as you work towards your vision, you're working towards that purpose. And when you're able to do that, then you can get that down even to a lower level. So each one of those missions, each that mission that you're working on is going to contribute to your purpose. I always like to use the example of getting out of bed early in the morning. We talk about the purpose being the thing that drives you, that fire that burns, that gets you moving, gets you out of bed. Let's talk about, let's say you had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning so you can get a bunch of stuff done for your business and help your team moving forward towards your purpose. Well, if you don't understand your purpose and you're just doing a job, frankly, what the hell is the motivation to get up at 4:30 in the morning? That's difficult. That is a hard thing to do. So why would you do that? Well, it's because I'm going to help people by creating a legacy of leaders. Well, shoot, that sounds a lot better. You start thinking about what that effect looks like. Well, if I create a leader, then that leader can go to help their organization be better. That organization can affect the community, and that community can affect the state, the city, and it can keep going and going and going. What I like to call in my coaching of, your purpose to the nth degree. What is that order of impact that's going to keep going from you, that ripple effect coming from you working towards your purpose. So now you understand your purpose, you understand the ripple effects, the nth degree of effect that is going to come from you working towards your purpose. Now getting up at 4:30 in the morning, writing out a plan for your team, sending emails, like kind of tedious type things that a lot of us don't really enjoy doing. When it's tied to the purpose, now you're going to have that energy for it, and that's going to help you to perform at a higher level, because you know how important each one of those individual missions is to your purpose. So again, just to recap a little bit on it, understanding your purpose is first. Then once you understand your purpose, you can connect your vision to that purpose. How is the vision for you and what you want to do with your life going to contribute to the purpose that you want to leave, the impact that you want to leave on the world? And then your individual mission, each individual pieces, how does that tie into your vision? Any gap there, I already kind of talked about the purpose vision gap. To shift it a little bit to the vision mission gap, because any one of these gaps is going to cause you to perform at a lower level because you're going to hurt your motivation, or you're going to be performing, I would say, performing at a high level in terms of, you're going to be busy taking action, but it's not going to necessarily be productive because it's not aligned. Those missions, even though you're busting your ass to get all those things done, if it's not aligned to your vision, well, then it's not very productive at all, and it's definitely not going to contribute to your purpose. So wherever those breaks come, that's where teams tend to fall apart. Another example going out to the rugby field is fitness, making the players run so that they can be in shape for the game, so they can perform at the very end of the game. The purpose of the team is to go win the national championship. The vision we're painting is for us to perform at a higher level so that we can win that national championship. We can win X number of games, those kind of different pieces there, as we take that purpose for the organization and lead it down to the vision for that year. Then our mission, talking about, getting fit today. Well, if the players don't understand how that mission aligns to the purpose of winning that national championship, the vision of that winning season for this year, well, then they're not going to be motivated. They're not going to try as hard. They're not going to get as much out of it. And then therefore, they're not going to perform at that higher level. So you have to be able to connect it all the way through. Going back to it, those runs, running those sprints, if you're thinking about a national championship, then you have that motivation. If you're thinking about helping people while you're sending those tedious emails, then you're going to have that motivation because you are aligned across your purpose, your vision, and your mission. So we covered those three, and we covered for the first person in the organization, what I would call part A of the high performance matrix, which is for the leader. You as the leader have to understand your purpose, your mission, or your vision rather, and then how your mission ties into each of that. Each one of those individual missions ties into that vision, ties into the purpose. You got to understand it every direction. Well, like I said, it is a matrix, so we're going to span that out. So you picture those 3 rows right there. We're going to extend it down a bit because it's not just about you. Obviously, you have a team, you have a business behind you. So starting on purpose, you have to understand your purpose as a leader. Then from that, you have to understand your organization's purpose. How does the organization itself contribute to your personal purpose? How are those aligned there? The more closely those are aligned, the more motivation you're going to get out of it, the more passion you're going to feel, all of those different aspects there, and the better performance you're going to get, of course. Then it goes in below that, from the leader to the organization to each individual team member. Understanding what each team member's purpose is, how the organization fits into that purpose, and then how your personal vision or your personal purpose fits into that organizational purpose, fits into that individual team member's purpose. That really high level of alignment comes when your purpose is aligned all the way up. And it doesn't have to fit perfectly. This is a really important piece. You need to understand, what it is and what it isn't when it comes to a lot of these things. You can have a team that is aligned where, I understand the vision, I want to build the same thing, but then the purpose not being aligned behind that can lead to a lot of problems. I'll tell a quick story from one of my early entrepreneurial ventures. If you've listened to the Cam and Otis show or 10X Your Team, over the last 5 years, you've probably heard me tell this story before. But what happened was a co-founder of mine, we were working on a business in a nonprofit looking to turn over old buildings into sustainable vertical farms. And really exciting stuff, really important to me, really tied into my purpose and wanting to help people via a passion of mine, which is agriculture, providing high quality food for folks, creating good business models so we can sustainably provide that high quality food for the local city. My co-founder, he also wanted to provide great food for the local city. He shared the vision for the organization of wanting to provide that food and build that sustainable business model so that we could continue to provide that food far into the future. And helping to educate the community on agriculture, all of these different aspects. We checked all of those boxes when it comes to the vision. But my purpose went back to, I want to help people. Without going too far down the rabbit hole, my co-founder's purpose was a little bit more apocalyptic, to put it that way. He saw things coming that, I could tell you for the truth now, they didn't happen. And because he thought, frankly, the world was going to end, well, then he made very different business decisions than I was, because I was looking at the long term and he was thinking, oh, sky's falling, we got to do stuff now. That was a difference in our purpose, that we are aligned on the vision, we are aligned on the mission, but because the purpose we were not aligned, then things got shaky there and it really hurt the relationship and killed the business, quite frankly. So you have to make sure that you understand the purpose behind yourself, behind the organization, and for each of your team members so that they can align there. Perfect. The more they align, more alignment is more better. The better that things are aligned, the better your team is going to perform. Obviously, there's the goal of perfection here where everything is just aligned perfectly, but also that's not realistic. I've said it in other videos, said it with multiple of my coaching clients, that it's like you can't expect everything to fit perfectly. You talk about a team member who just wants to be there for a few years. They just want they want to work for you, but they want it as a job. They don't want it as a career. They don't want that promotion. They don't want you to develop them into the next, COO, whatever it is. If they don't want that, that's okay. You need those people too, because you're not going to be able to get that 100% buy-in, that 100% alignment every single time. So that kind of covers the purpose area, the purpose for the leader, purpose for the organization, the purpose for the team members. Then you're going to basically follow the same process through on vision and mission. You as the leader, what is your vision? What is the thing that you want to do? Going back to, my purpose is helping people. If my vision for helping people is very different than the organization's vision, if I want to go work at the soup kitchen to feed people and my organization is working to develop leaders, well, then those aren't aligned right there. Those visions are not aligned. They could both be good. They could still be a good thing, but they aren't aligned. And that's where performance comes from, is from that alignment. That's why high performance alignment is so important for organizations. Then that goes down to the next level. If the vision for the organization is develop great leaders, and then you have team members who don't see their vision along with that, of course, you still need some people otherwise, but really the high performance alignment comes from them understanding that their personal vision fits in with the organization's vision. Talking about developing great leaders, maybe they do want to develop inside your organization. Maybe they want to take their job up as high as they can, have a career with you, not just a job, those kind of things. In that environment, then, now they are aligned on the vision and the purpose with the organization, which is aligned on the vision and the purpose, which is then aligned with you as the leader on the vision and the purpose. The mission, really, we just follow the same pattern. We just keep drilling down on it into the smaller and smaller areas. The mission for the leader, your job, what you are doing to develop the business, to lead the team, does that align with the mission for the organization? Are you developing the business in the right way, or are you chasing shiny objects? That's what that disconnect looks like in mission as far as the leader in the organization. Then it gets into, does each team member's mission align with the organization's mission? What a lot of the time, you talk about shiny objects a lot as the leader of getting those new idea for a product, new idea for services, ways we can tweak things. That creativity is what makes us such great business leaders usually, but it also can be really distracting for the team. So you have to avoid that shiny object syndrome. But the same thing can happen at the lower level. One of my favorite ways to think about this is, people are busy a lot. We wear busy as a badge of honor a lot of the time. Well, were you busy or were you productive? And that is the difference of whether your mission, what you were personally working on, was aligned with the organization. Was it actually pushing in the right direction? I busted my butt all day long trying to get this project done, but then we're not even going to use the project because that project doesn't align with, even though I was working really hard on it, even though my boss told me it made sense. If my mission on that project does not align with the team's mission and where that project fits in, if it doesn't fit in anywhere, then it's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. You're very busy, but you're not productive. And so what it really comes down to is trying to identify what those different disconnects look like, what they can look like inside of your team. And then when you identify those disconnects, working to fix them as you go. If you're building a team from scratch, then you can go through the process of, have a nice long interview where you're talking with them about their purpose, their vision, their mission, making sure that they understand that, because they need to be aligned as well. That's one thing about this matrix, is it goes every single direction here. We've covered a bunch of the different, possible disconnects. But in mission, you can have a disconnect between the leader's mission and the organization's mission. You can have a disconnect between the organization's mission and the team member's mission. You can have a disconnect between the team member's mission and the organization's vision. You can have disconnects all over the place here. And that's why it's really important to understand each one of these individual aspects, but then also how they play into the rest of the matrix. Because you as a leader need to be able to recognize in your team when these disconnects are happening. the lack of performance you might see in your team when you're trying to get them to perform at that higher level is usually going to come back to alignment. If your team doesn't feel motivated, it's because they don't see their purpose aligned with your purpose or with the organization's purpose. If they don't feel motivated to do the tedious work, the sending of the emails, it's because they don't understand how that mission of sending those emails every morning at 4:30 in the morning ties into the organization's mission that lets the organization function and fulfill its vision. All of these different pieces come back together. And so if you want to perform at a higher level, you need to work to build more alignment inside of your teams. And the thing is, I think when a lot of people talk about alignment, they tend to think back to the old school management theory of the factory, and it's we're making widgets and we have to keep everybody in line. And I'm making part 1 of the widget, you're making part 2, you're making part 3, and so we all have to work and be aligned. I make one when you make one, so I can pass it down to you, and the assembly line can keep going and keep going and keep going, so we can pump out those widgets. Is that aligned? Yes. Are those missions aligned? Yes. Is the purpose and vision aligned? I could bet you it's not in any of those type of organizations. So what I'm really talking about when it comes into this alignment aspect is you align them on the mission, the vision, and the purpose. And that lets them have the flexibility and the freedom that they need to innovate inside of their job, to do their job at the highest level possible. Because they know what goes into it. They know what they're working on. They know why they're working on that, how that ties into their personal vision, how that ties into the organization's vision and the organization's mission. And they can imagine that this matrix all the way up to, I am answering these emails because my boss's purpose is to help people. And the way we're going to do that is through our organization's purpose of making better leaders and developing great leaders out there. And so this email connects all the way back to not just my purpose, but the organization's purpose and the purpose of our founder. And when you start to get to that level of understanding, that's when you really tap into that high performance alignment. So to really summarize it, the 3 pieces for alignment are going to be your purpose, your vision, and your mission. And then each one of those, 1, 2, 3, is going to have an A, B, C with it, of the leader, the organization, and the team member. In that matrix between those 9 different categories, you can have a disconnect going any different direction there. It's on you as a leader to identify what those different disconnects may look like. I've talked about a lot of what they do look like in your business, but each business is going to be different, of course. So identifying where those disconnects come and then working to fix them. In my story about my co-founder, if he as the leader, and of course I'm a co-leader as well, but he was the CEO. If he as the leader had recognized that we weren't aligned on the purpose there, then he could have worked in a way that then could get us aligned, and that would help us to be more long-term inside of that business. It goes back to recognizing these disconnects so that you can then fix them as a leader. Because if you're not measuring it, if you're not recognizing it, then you have no chance of fixing it. So if you want your team to perform at a higher level, it all goes back to purpose, vision, and mission, and making sure you're aligned on all of those different levels there. So hope this helped. Hope this helped you get inspired to go have a higher performing team. We as leaders want our teams to perform at a higher level. Well, this is the tools of how you're going to do it, by making sure your team is aligned from the leader, the organization, to the team member, from the purpose to the vision to the mission. So if you're watching this in our GBLP tribe portal, go check out the next video. Excited to see you there. And if you're watching this on YouTube as this free excerpt from GBLP, go to 10xyourteam.net to learn more about what we do at Tribe and Purpose, how we help to develop develop leaders, and what our purpose looks like, what our legacy of leaders is that we're looking to build. And then we got 3 different options for you if you want to develop yourself as a leader or develop leaders inside of your team. We have a DIY option. Listen to the podcast, watch videos like this, and do it yourself. Learn these lessons, and you can apply it yourself into your business, into your life. And we have a done with you option, GBLP, which is of course where this video is coming from, which is where we are going to help to coach you to understand these leadership concepts so you can implement them into your team and develop your leaders. And it's done with you because we're going to help you along the way on that. And then, if you're in a big organization and, you got the money for it, quite frankly, and you want to really develop your culture of excellence and develop the leaders in your team, build the systems and processes that you need to be a big business as you're growing and starting to look at the big dogs that you're going to be competing with. If you're looking at that, then we also have a done for you option, which is our fractional COO services, where we come in, provide you with a fractional COO who's going to help to make sure that your team is aligned on purpose, vision, and mission at every single level across that matrix, so you can get a higher performance out of it, have a better culture in your team, and perform at that higher level that we all want for our business. And so if you want to find out more about any of those three, either comment below, reach out to either myself or Otis, or go to 10xyourteam.net and find out more.